I want to see a ghost.
My grandfather was here.
It's my God!
Spoiler warning. The unseen ending isn't just shocking, it's a lie. Buckle up, because this breakdown will rewrite everything you thought you knew. The story begins with Bob, a man who once worked in a mill in the city. He had a wife and a daughter named Eva, but he remained emotionally distant from both. As Eva grew older, the gap between her and her mother widened. She often disobeyed her mother, prompting her mother to reach out to Bob for help. She begged him to intervene, reminding him that Eva was his daughter and needed his guidance. But Bob coldly refused, saying he no longer wanted any relationship with them. Despite his harsh words, the news about Eva disturbed him deeply. In an attempt to clear his mind, he went to a bar. Bob met a dealer who told him that his boss, Nelson, needed someone discreet to deliver illegal goods. Though Bob didn't commit to anything immediately, the dealer handed him Nelson's number and asked him to consider it. Bob took the package the dealer had brought for now and left. The next day, at work, Bob was examining a faulty machine. As he checked the blade, it suddenly started moving. Lost in thought, Bob didn't notice until his partner called out to him, snapping him back just in time to avoid a serious injury. The experience left him shaken. Feeling off, Bob requested a few days off from work, which his boss approved. He returned home, packed his things, and drove off. While traveling that night, he felt his body weakening. Losing control of the car, he crashed into a pole. Though he survived with minor injuries, the experience rattled him. He quickly called Nelson and informed him of the accident, then went to a nearby cafe. In the restroom, he noticed blood and pain in his stomach. Removing his shirt, he discovered a horrifying sight. His body was slowly disappearing, and his rib bones were starting to show. Disturbed but composed, he bandaged himself and stepped out. Nelson soon arrived, and Bob explained his situation, mentioning the damaged car. Nelson offered to pay for the repairs if Bob agreed to deliver his goods. With no better option, Bob accepted. Nelson took him to his home, and the next day, they went into the forest, where Nelson shot a bear and severed its head, placing it in a box. The bear's body parts, destined for sale on the black market, were valuable. Bob soon found his car repaired and began his delivery. That night, Bob visited his wife's house, but Eva wasn't home. His wife explained that Eva was staying over at a friend's place, which had become a habit. The next morning, as Bob prepared to leave for the delivery, Eva returned and confronted him. She was furious about his long absence, but Bob, still unwell, didn't answer her. She noticed his condition and withdrew into the house. Bob then completed the delivery. The recipient warned him not to trust Nelson, saying he was dangerous. Bob, too sick to argue, remained silent and carried on. The man, noticing Bob's condition, gave him a Chinese herbal medicine. Back home, Eva questioned Bob about his health. He brushed it off, claiming he was injured at work. Curious, Eva brought up her grandfather's fatal illness, Bob's father, but Bob avoided the topic. Later, Eva left to meet friends. On the way, she entered a Chinese medicine shop. Like her father, Eva suffered from a condition she kept hidden. The shopkeeper offered to show her to a doctor, but Eva declined and only bought some Chinese tea. Eva and her friends then decided to explore an abandoned mental hospital. Though the hospital was shut down, they managed to sneak inside. The place was eerie, filled with jokes about ghosts. Eva revealed her grandfather was once admitted there and died before she was born. She hoped to find his medical files to learn more. Deep in the basement, the group saw a mysterious figure wrapped in white cloth. It vanished upon being seen, terrifying everyone. A shocking moment. Eva began disappearing in front of her friend's eyes, her hand fading as if detached. Horrified, her friends fled, leaving her behind. Meanwhile, Bob and his wife reminisced about Eva's childhood. But the next morning, they realized Eva had never returned home. Panicked, they searched for her, eventually finding her phone, which indicated she had gone to the mental hospital. They visited Eva's friend's house, but her father reported that she, too, hadn't returned. Desperate, Bob contacted Nelson to delay the next delivery, explaining that his daughter was missing. Bob tracked down other friends, but they were evasive. Enraged, Bob assaulted them until one confessed that Eva had gone with them to the hospital, but they fled in fear and didn't know what became of her. Bob realized Eva must have gone there to investigate her grandfather's illness. Meanwhile, Eva woke up locked in a cage, unsure of how she got there. That night, the door mysteriously opened, and keys were left on the table. Someone was helping him. Bob escaped and returned to his wife's house. While she wasn't home, the neighbor was, and then Nelson called, threatening Bob's family if the parcel wasn't delivered soon. Bob learned that one of Eva's friends had returned. She revealed Eva's secret, that she was disappearing, and gave Bob her bag, which contained Chinese tea, just like the one he had been given. Realizing the connection, Bob confronted the man who had received the parcel. The man denied kidnapping Eva and pointed Bob toward the Chinese tea shop. Meanwhile, Eva was being tortured by people trying to examine her disappearing condition. They scratched her wounds, causing her immense pain. Bob arrived at the shop, demanded answers from the frightened shopkeeper, and spotted Eva's bike. When he removed his hood, revealing his partially vanished head, the woman realized he was like Eva. She directed him to the doctor's room. Bob, now nearly invisible, stormed into the basement where the doctor and assistant were, demanding Eva's release. Hearing her father's voice, Eva called out. Despite his frightening appearance, Bob comforted her, opened the cage, and rescued her. Eva took him home, and seeing his worsening state, her mother tended to him. The next morning, Bob confessed that he had distanced himself to spare them the pain of his condition. He feared she inherited it from him, just as he had from his father. Bob, feeling weaker, decided to leave before the world discovered the truth. Eva insisted on going with him, as she was also deteriorating. Tearfully, their mother bid them farewell. On the road, Bob and Eva reconnected, sharing moments they had lost. Bob confessed his cold demeanor was a defense mechanism, while Eva expressed how much she missed him. Eventually, they reached the destination for Bob's final delivery. As his face faded, Eva helped disguise him with foundation. Bob handed over the parcel, and they returned to the house. Eva brewed Chinese tea for them. Bob explained that people in this town didn't care about those who disappeared, so she could live peacefully. They laughed and bonded. When the recipient opened Nelson's parcel, it only contained nail. Furious, Nelson hunted down Bob. But by now, Bob was nearly gone. He hugged Eva and told her his time had come, then went to the mill, where he fully disappeared. Nelson soon barged into Bob's home, threatening Eva. She lied, saying Bob had sold her the house and left, but Nelson, unconvinced, prepared to attack her. Suddenly, he was shoved by an invisible force. Bob, though fully disappeared, had returned to protect his daughter. He brutally beat Nelson and killed him. Eva, though unable to see him, heard him say he would always protect her, no matter what. He disposed of Nelson's body in the forest, leaving it for the bear. Later, Eva bought a pair of glasses, hoping that once they were both invisible, they could still see each other. Bob recalled how his father had once helped him escape the hospital, revealing he was still alive, not dead as everyone thought. Eva realized the figure in white cloth they had seen was likely her grandfather. She vowed to return and free him. The story ends with Eva declaring her intention to reunite the whole family, even in invisibility. The ending of The Unseen reveals that Bob's disappearance wasn't just a mysterious illness. It was part of a hidden legacy passed down from his father, who was never dead but had also turned invisible. This twist shows that invisibility isn't death, but transformation. Bob still protects his daughter even after disappearing, proving he's more powerful than he seemed. The film tricks the audience, forcing us to rethink everything. We thought he was broken, but he was evolving. The lie was never just in the story, it was in what we believed all along. Think you could survive the unseen world? Tag a friend who'd fail miserably. Don't forget to subscribe, unless you're scared of the truth. Our next video reveals the lie the director tried to bury.